Hi, so now we're going to look at plotting a straight line graph, which comes up time and time again on the foundation paper. It's about D grade work, depending on how tricky it is. So on this particular question here, it asks us to complete the table of values for, if you can't see very well, it's y equals 3x plus 4. And we've got to fill in the missing gaps here in this table, so that's worth 2 marks there. Now, you can see here we've got some negative numbers to substitute in and then some positive numbers. And my recommendation would always be to go with the positive numbers first. And sometimes they give you some answers. So if you're not sure what needs to go in here, if you can try substituting the 2 in here, and you should come out with 10 there. So if you're not sure about that, you can check. So have a think about, if x is 1 here, if x is 1, what will y have to be? Okay, so hopefully you realise it's going to be 7, because we've got 3 times the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 4 is 7. So there we go. And now I'm going to put in 0 there. So have a think about what 0, if x is 0, what y will be. Hopefully you've got the answer is 4. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. And now we can start to see a pattern here. So really, I might be able to use that pattern to help me get the next one here. So I'm going to put in minus 2 just to be sure. 3 times minus 2, well that's minus 6. Now what's minus 6? Add 4. It's actually minus 2. I'm starting off at minus 6 and then I'm adding 4, so I'm getting bigger. So minus 6, add 4, and I get to minus 2. And really, you can see here, as we go along this way, we're going down in 3s anyway, so that helps. And then the next bit here, it says, on the grid, draw the graph of y equals 3x plus 4. Well, that's the same as the graph up at the top. So really, what it's asking me to do is to plot these points on here. So I'm going to plot the point 2, 10, with the coordinates 2, 10. So I'll go along to 2 and up to 10. There we go. I'm going to go 1, 7. So along to 1 and up to 7. There we go. 0, 4. Along to 0 to 4. Minus 1, 1. So minus 1 and then up to 1. And then minus 2, minus 2. Minus 2 and then down to minus 2. Now, I should notice that they're all going in a straight line. So what I now need to do is to get my ruler and join those up with a straight line there. Now it said to me, draw the graph of y equals 3x plus 4, and I've done that now. So if I'd have only put the crosses in, that would have only been certain points. I need to draw the line to show the whole graph. These are just helping me to do that. Now, if I'd have been in a situation where, let's say I've made a mistake on here, and I've put the wrong number in there. I mean, some people could have put they could have put minus 10 in there. And I could see why they would accidentally make that mistake. And when they put minus 2, minus 10 in, minus 2, and their minus 10 would be all the way down here. And they would notice that their crosses don't go in a straight line. So if you notice somewhere, and this happens sometimes, if your crosses don't go in a straight line, let's say for example that cross there would have been, if I'd have plotted it there, and when I try and draw my, when I try and draw my straight line, I notice that they're not all on a straight line together. I know I've got that one wrong. So really what I need to do is go back and change it up in my grid as well as putting it in the right place on here. Okay. So, as usual, I'm going to give you some to have a go at yourself. Now, sometimes in the exam, when you're asked to draw a graph, notice here on this one, they're not giving you the table here. So you sometimes need to create a table yourself. So what I suggest you do is make up, like I had here, already given for me, some values for x, and then substitute those numbers into there to give you some values for y. So you could use those ones if you like. So you could use x is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2 up in your table here, and they'll leave you space to do that. But I always suggest, like I did here, start with the positive ones first. Don't start with the negative ones because they're much harder. Okay? So, There we go. If you can't see that, I'm just going to make that slightly bigger for you. That's y. Draw on the grid. Draw the graph of y equals 4x minus 2. So give that a go, and I will show you the answers afterwards. So press pause now. Okay, let's have a look at the next one then. So on this one, you've got to draw the graph of y equals 3x minus 2 for values of x from minus 1 to 3. And all that means at the end here is that's all you can draw on your graph. You've got minus 1 there and 3 there. That just means you're going to just draw your graph as normal. But again, here's some space to create your table. Okay, so give that one a go. Okay, next one. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals a half x plus 5 for values of x from minus 2 to 4. And then next one, similar idea. First of all, complete the table of values for y equals 5x plus 2. Again, first job for 2 marks, fill in the missing numbers. And then B says on the grid, draw the graph of y equals 5x plus 2, values from minus 2 to 3. Okay? And then the last bit there says use your graph to estimate the value of x when y equals 10. Okay? Use the graph to estimate the value of x when y equals 10. Okay, next one. Similar, perhaps a little bit trickier on this one, but same sort of idea. On the grid, draw the graph of x plus y equals 4 this time. Okay, so now I've got the answers here. So this is the answer to the first one. So you should have had a grid that looks something like this. But it doesn't matter what your numbers were here, as long as your line ended up looking like this, crossing there at minus 2. So that was the first one. The next one that you did, again, it said from minus 1 to 3, so there's my numbers, minus 1 to 3. I've generated some coordinates by substituting them into there, and there's my graph again crossing through minus 2. But notice it's a straight line again. Y equals a half x plus 5. We've got some halves in my answer there, but again there's my line, straight line there. This one here, so the numbers in there, that's what they should be, and again my line here that I've drawn. Now the last bit though, just answering that, on your graph to estimate, use your graph to estimate the value of x when y equals 10. Now this is what I need to do for that. These are all my y values, so this here is when y equals 10. So y equals 10, and I'm using my graph to estimate, y equals 10 when x equals 1.6, it looks like there. That's my answer. Okay, next one. So that's what the answer should look like for that one. All right, it's a bit trickier there really. You've got to say to yourself, if x is going to be 4, what will I need to add to 4 to make 4? Well, that will be 0. If x is 3, y will need to be 1 to make it 4. Okay? And that's it. So hopefully now you're able to use some of that to be able to plot some straight line graphs.